Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh, glad to be here with you, and I'm thankful that you are with us, whether you're listening on CKLU 96.7 FM or cklu.ca. You just click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can stream us. You can also take us with you if you download the Radio Player Canada app and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Later on, you can find the shows on demand on those two platforms, as well as on our website, sudbury.news, which is a Sudbury news aggregator with all the local news in one convenient location. Now that the government's legislation have made it harder on mainly Facebook and Instagram to share any news, meaning you can't share any news, whether it's local, national, or international, cannot be shared in order to make Canadian producers get the money. So that was the reason why the federal government made the legislation that they did, was the Canadian content creators weren't making enough money, I guess, and now they're making less money because they can't promote their materials. So I'm not sure what that did, but it did make it harder to criticize the government. Oh, yes, because now more voices that were kind of saying things that were different than talking points that were just put out by state-run media and things like that cannot be shared anymore. And content creators make less money now. So yeah, that's what happens when big government gets involved with trying to do things. You don't know what reasons they're doing them for, and they tell you they're doing it for one reason. And you can tell by the results of what happened, of what they really wanted to do, possibly, right? I'm just kind of speculating because I don't really know. No one's the result that they wanted, that they were so adamant about. Canadian content creators and media making the money. Right after they did that, Bell Media laid off 6,800 people and 700 people from CBC, even though they got millions and millions and millions of dollars from our tax money, still laid off the mainly journalists. So we have a lot of out of work journalists in this country, and they're not able to start their own thing because they can't really do it on Facebook or Instagram, right? So it's harder to do that if they even wanted to go out and just be independent journalists. It's an interesting place we live in, very socialist, very almost towards communism. We'll have more on that. That's why I start the show off like this, because we'll have a little deep dive into Canada's political structure, that it's very socialist. Many countries have gone down this road already and turned around and went the other way. We'll be talking about Sweden today and the fact that they've kind of put the brakes on back in the 90s and done a complete turnaround, even though a lot of people use Sweden as they put it up on a pedestal as the number one socialist experiment out there, and everyone needs to be like Sweden. Well, they've kind of missed the point that Sweden actually isn't on that road anymore. And yes, we should put them up and we should follow them, but not for the reasons that many Canadians think we should. So there you go. That'll be the deep dive for today. After weather and local sports and local headlines, there you go. So it's going to be a great show today. Hopefully you stick around. It's going to be very informative, and we're going to have a great conversation, because this is your conversation on your station, CKLU. We'll do our best to read the comments for people on listening and to get them up on the screen, even if we can't read them for those viewing. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow all the social media that is Sudbury News. We'll be back with weather, sports, news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Stay tuned. And your Sudbury weather is brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. For all things Sudbury weather, go to SudburyWeather.ca or just go to your app on your phone. Probably just as easy. The weather today, if you've been outside already, you realize it's very, very, very cold here in Greater Sudbury. And the wind itself accounts for what feels like around minus 20 or more. It's minus 10 though, but with that wind, it just feels very, very, very cold. I don't know if I put enough varies there yet, and I don't know why my volume is currently up here. It shouldn't be. Oh, there you go. So it is, like I said, currently 10 degrees. Feels like minus 20 out there. And it's very, 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 very cold, as I said. And now I'm looking for the feed that I just had up here. Not sure what just happened. Something strange goes on here sometimes when I'm clicking on things. So it's very cold outside. And today you can expect a few flurries ending this morning, then clearing. I don't know, though. I'll go out on a limb and say there won't be any flurries this morning. How about that? I'm just going to go out on that limb. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to take my chances today. But that's what Environment Canada is saying. Its wind will be gusting up to 50 kilometers late this morning. The high today will be +3, but it will feel much colder than that. Tonight, clear. Wind up to 15 kilometers, so very mild wind. The low of -9 overnight, so similar to the cold we have here with less wind. So it'll just feel cool, and it'll feel like -9. Thursday, sunny, wind up to just 15 kilometers, so it's very mild. High of 9, wind chill -11 in the morning. And the UV index will be 5 or moderate. And I know everyone was wondering what the UV index was going to be. So again, Thursday, sunny, 9. Friday, sunny, 15. Periods of rain, 60% chance, a high of 13 on Saturday. 30% chance of showers on Sunday, high of 14. 30% chance of showers on Monday, high of 13. And a 60% chance of showers on Tuesday, high of 12. Look at your satellite. You can see a lot of the clouds just moving on out to the east and a lot of clearing coming in from the west. And that's your Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with a little sports update, then news headlines and your comments and more right after this. Yeah, so the Sudbury Wolves have released the latest for the awards that they give away for the players this year. They sent me an email with all that stuff, but it might have got buried by now. That's probably what happened. It'll be on the next page. So just bear with me for 1 second here. And so that's exciting news for our players of the Sudbury Wolves. And for the life of me right now, I'm not able to bring it up, but it is what it is. Check it out. Go to SudburyWolves.com. That's all I'm going to say. Go to the SudburyWolves.com, and you can check out all the latest awards that were given away to all of our Sudbury Wolves. And there we go. Now I have found it. And here you go. So you don't have to wait for that. David Goyette gets MVP of the year for Sudbury Wolves. Leadership Award, Dalibor Dvorsky. Scholarship or Scholastic Award, goes to Alex Farrand. Joe Drago player goes to Andre Anania. The Gord Edwin Most Improved, Kieran Walton. Best Defensive Player, Landon McCallum. Top Defenseman, Andre Anania. Top Plus-Minus Player, Andre Anania. The Bill Plant Top Scorer, David Goyette. Most Goals, Dalibor Dvorsky. And Pete Shields Most Assists, David Goyette. Community Service Award, Alex Farrand. And the Jim Pappin Memorial Award, Nathan Villeneuve. So there you go. Those are the award winners for the Sudbury Wolves this season. surprisingly, Quentin Musty not on that list of awards for this year, but definitely was Impact Player nonetheless. And that's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, and it looks like we have quite a few people joining us this morning. As usual, again, so we're starting to get our numbers back up. Something happened with Facebook a little while ago. It went down, and then all of a sudden it was a different algorithm, and we were getting 45 people a day on the show, and then it just kind of cut in half. But we've been starting to get more people back on the show, so we're appreciative of that. So make sure to comment. I'll do my best to get the comments read, like I said. But if I'm not able to, we move on with our deep dive today and things like that. I'll do my best too. I will get your comments up on the screen for those watching either live or afterwards on demand at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, X, formerly Twitter. It'll be there as well as on our website, Sudbury.news. You just click on the Sudbury News Talk tab and you can check that. Good morning, Judy. Thanks for being with us. Marianne. Good morning from Barry, liked and shared. Monique, good morning. Sudbury with a happy emoji. Happy face. Good morning, Belinda. Positive statement of the day. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that an airplane takes off against the wind, not fly with it. And that is so true. You need opposition. There is a statement out there that says we need opposition in all things in order to move forward. So if you don't have something opposing you, a lot of people will say, yeah, tell me I can't and I'll show you I can, right? That idea? Now, a lot of people aren't like that either, but that's one example. If you ever worked out before or built any muscle whatsoever, you realize that in order to build that muscle, you need a heavy weight to lift or to push against in order to build muscle. And it's just exactly the analogy of your character, your spirit, your personality. You need opposition. You need something a challenge, let's say, to build yourself. So thank you very much, Belinda. I'm very appreciative of your positive statements each and every morning. Denise, good morning and blessings from Espanola. Good morning to you. Liette, again, thanks for your emails. I'll get back to you on the email at some point, but I just wanted to let you know I'm very grateful for your emails you sent the other day. Good morning from Collingwood. And Mona, good morning to you. Leon, good morning. Saying the Liberals/NDP would do us all a favor if they would just stop, in capital letters, trying to make things worse. Well, and again, right, they're telling us they're trying to make things better, but obviously you can see by the results. I was thinking to myself this morning, the last election, I guess, in 2015 that we had, people were telling me, my close group of friends, like I had a network of friends kind of at work and, through my professional life, and most of them, I didn't realize at the time, were Liberal or NDP, like most of Sudbury has been all these years, right? And Prime Minister Harper was in then, and I just always hear things from them. I'd read posts on Facebook by them, just how much they didn't like Harper. They just didn't like him. He's a cardboard cutout. His personality's like this. The guy's like, he's got no character. That's what I would hear. I wouldn't hear anything about the state of the country or, the fact that interest rates were too low or the fact that food was affordable or you could actually buy a house and the real estate market was actually booming, that people were making enough money at the time. You wouldn't hear anything really against the economy or against the quality of life that we had. You just heard people harping on Harper about the way he looks. He's trying to be a musician. He's trying to relate to people. He doesn't relate to people. So that's all I heard. Then the election happened and there was just bliss. There was bliss from all the people around me. Oh, we're so glad that Trudeau's in now. It's just, and then I was like, because I, at that time, really was just trying to understand politics. I was more or less not informed, and at the beginning of trying to understand, I was just observing society and the way people reacted to different people and who they elected for, who they elected or voted for, why one person over another. I don't know, right? I did the thing that most people did. They asked their best friends or family, who are you voting for this year? And I a lot of times voted for whoever I trusted voted for. And I just thought, you know what, that's not really good. I really need to find out what's up with, why are there three main parties, I guess, in Canada, or two main parties? And what's up with all this stuff? Like, what's the political landscape here in Canada? So that started my journey. And many people started saying, Justin Trudeau, he's just so much more flamboyant. He's got more character. He's a better speaker. He's good looking. His hair really was the number one reason why people said they voted for him. And he was good looking. He was cute. A lot of the female voters would say to me, he's really cute. And I was just baffled a little bit by that. So yeah, but why? What were you unsatisfied with in the first place? They said, we just want to change. Yeah, you know what? We just want to change. And I said, yeah, but how's your life going to change for the better now that you've voted out Harper? Like, what was wrong with your life in terms of the things he was doing as he was governing the country, right? This was a honest question. And I never got an answer. No one knew. It was the same thing that then later. So then the election happened in 2016 right after this. And then Donald Trump comes in, and I'm like really into observing politics at this point and going, what's going on? Why is news media so against this guy? Why are they? I've never seen this before in my life. Someone who's elected, and then the media just wants to eat him up and spit him out. They just hate this guy, and they're taking things that he's saying out of context. I see that because I was actually going to school, just starting school in public relations, and so things I was learning in class, I'm like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't the way things work. Real journalism won't, be biased as they're being. That doesn't make any sense. Whether I like Donald Trump or not, I was, and still am, neutral on the whole thing. I'd rather look at their record of how they're governing a country, right? So he didn't have a chance to govern yet. They were just all over him, like he's the worst thing, and how dare they vote in this guy, and he's a lunatic, and all these things. They're just saying these things, right? So I'm like, okay, but let's see what his policies are going to be. That's really what's important. Because it's how they govern that affects us. It's not what their hair looks like, how they talk, who they relate to, how good looking they are. That's not what affects your life. And that's what people seem to really kind of gravitate towards more with these politicians, whether they relate to them or not. Then they lose sight of, when they take that pen and sign something on a paper, what that's actually going to do. Is it going to raise their taxes? Is it going to make food 2.5 times more expensive? Is it going to make jobs less available and higher unemployment? Is it going to increase homelessness or people experiencing homelessness? Is it going to increase drugs on our streets and addiction to drugs? Like, these aren't the things people are concerned about when it comes to electing somebody. And I take a couple steps back and I shake my head at this, because I think those are the things you need to be concerned about, not about what someone looks like or how they sound, how they dress, how slick they're able to talk. And, like a lot of people say with Obama, he's a great public speaker, and he is. So that's great. But what is he signing? How is it impacting your life? What's his worldview? What's he trying to accomplish? Go back into his core beliefs and things he's saying about what kind of changes he wants to bring about, right? Like, that's the thing you really need to be aware of. So ask yourself this now. So after you voted in someone who was very good looking, nice hair, is able to speak, is definitely has more character, more personality, relates to the young people, things like this, all the things I was hearing. Legalize marijuana, which is the number one thing I heard people say that he's done since he's been in power. That's the number one thing they can say. He's legalized marijuana. So after all this, ask yourself if your life now, if your quality of life is better since Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh now together are ruling the country. But before that, it was just Justin Trudeau. Is your life, quality of life better? Do you feel safer? Do you feel more confident with your dollar? Do you feel like your future is brighter? Do you feel like these types of things? You got to ask yourself that, right? Because they are connected to who is running the country and what decisions they're making, not what kind of tie they wear or suit, or whether they have a beard or not, or how they comb their hair. That has nothing to do with when you go to the grocery store and you go, a watermelon is $16.99 at Metro, a watermelon. That has nothing to do with that, right? Some people took exception to a post I put up the other day that says, the way inflation has been going, that a family of four it'll cost them an extra $11,000 a year for basic necessities, including food. And there's like, and they said they did all this math about inflation's only this rate and blah, blah, blah. But again, these are people that just went through university and just know different formulas and stuff. Just look at your grocery bill. Just look at your gas bill. Just look and do your own math of your own self and your own life. How much more are you paying now compared to 2016? So what were gas prices then? What were food prices then? What was, what was your home heating? What was an interest rate for your mortgage? These types of things. How much more is this government costing you than the previous one was? Pre-2015, right? So these are the things you need to ask yourself. And you might be okay with these things. You might be like, look, there's a cost to being woke. There's a cost. If you really want the kind of world that, is unicorns and rainbows, and you want that kind of world, it's going to cost you. And everyone's got to chip in, including the rich. You got to tax the rich, man. There's these darn Galen Westons out there. They're making this world really, really hard to live in. Now, pre-2015, were you as worried about Galen Weston as you are now? Pre-2015, right? Now, what's changed? Why are you more worried about Galen Weston right now? And food prices, is it Galen Weston that's driving up the food prices alone? Or food costs going up? Could gas have something to do with the food costs going up? How does food get around? Yeah, it gets around vehicles. Vehicles use gas. So obviously that's one reason why. Was the minimum wage gone up quite a bit since then? Yeah. So that's another reason why it's gone up. These are all decisions that are made at a federal level. Has there been a carbon tax? How much more do we pay for a carbon tax, which is a tax on a tax? So you put the carbon tax on, and then the GST is on top of the carbon tax. So there's a tax on a tax. So how much are you equating all of those costs? But these are decisions made by the government that we have in right now. And so maybe the next time you're voting, maybe think like that. Like think who's going to do what? And sometimes some people are like just fed up with everybody altogether now, and they're giving up on politics altogether, and they don't want any of it. But we'll dive more into that a little bit later. We really appreciate you being on, and we'll try and get whoever's joining us right now. I got to kind of quickly move on because I'm sorry I ranted. I just couldn't help myself this morning. Yes, unfortunately, it's all by design. Everything that the government is motivated by money. Let's see. That's Belinda and Marianne. Good morning, David. Stay safe. Take care. Yes, for sure. Yourself as well. You're using the S swear word? I didn't know that. Okay. If it's socialism, well then I would say that would be true. Monique, good day, people. And many people in this audience, like listening or watching from the Sudbury area or even Canada, they're like, we love socialism. We wish Bernie Sanders would have got in. You know what I mean? That's the kind of mainly a good chunk of Sudbury anyways, and a good chunk of our country feels like that. But these are the things we're talking about. What does that mean, actually? Why do you like socialism? What is it about socialism you like? Not the kind of socialism they had in Venezuela or, these countries that totally went belly up when they go down this road. No, democratic socialism, the kind of socialism that's in Sweden. Yes, the kind of socialism that's in Sweden. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay. Oh, Joe Drago was your principal in school. That's awesome. High school, Marianne. Josiah, good morning. Thanks for being on. And we're just going to get through some of the comments here as we move along. Just want to give some morning shout outs, and we'll do so to Pat. Good morning. To the Awake D exclamation point. Much appreciated. And yes, we need to wake up in the morning. That's why I was going to name the show, Wake Up in the Morning or something kind of thing, to let people start thinking about the things we were just talking about just now. Like, just think, just really think. Why do we think the way we do? Why, how do we, what creates the thoughts that we have? Why do we vote for a certain party over another? Why do we think one particular form of governance is better than another? Or why did we vote in someone because they had nice hair? You know what I mean? Why do we do things like that? And then we got to put the country through. Did you ever think the guy with the nice hair might make some bad decisions and had a learning disability where they can't do simple math, and now you have to deal with that? You know what I mean? Like, ouch. Like, that's what we got to start thinking about. Take ownership and do a little research. Ask yourself some questions, But we're in what we're in now. We've been in it for about 8 years. And if you like the way things are going, then continue on that road. If you love, you feel more safe, you feel like things are affordable, you feel like high interest rates for mortgages are fine. Oh, don't worry, the government's they just said they're going to do some really good things to help the problem they caused. You know what I mean? So don't worry about it. We trust them. They caused the problem, but now they're going to try and make it better. So I'll still keep agreeing with them no matter what, because the ultimate opposite is too much. Like, we can't have the opposite. That's what Justin Trudeau said anyways. That's dangerous to have the opposite of him, to go back to the way it was with that Harper guy, the dangerous Harper guy. Remember how unsafe you felt pre 2015 and how bad everything was? Remember? Like, you can't go back to that. That's just terrible for the country, right? So that's what that person is saying. So it's so laughable. Really think about how your life was pre-2015 compared to now, and compared to the way the state of our society is in general, just in all the markers, So there you go. The couple of headlines from Sudbury here, just want to get to. Police are looking for your help to solve a murder that took place in 2022. I'm not sure why they're coming out now to ask for your help rather than ask for your help in 2022. I thought that's maybe when they should have been asking for people's help, but good morning, Maurice. Thanks for being with us. But they're asking for your help now, and I'm sure people have a lot of... the S word was snow. Okay, well, I think the S word is socialism as well. So anyway, snow or socialism is the S word. And there's a lot of fans of socialism, and I know they're listening to the show, and a lot of times their blood boils when they hear me say anything negative about socialism. But socialism is the next step to communism. And a lot of people say, yeah, well, I love communism too. Okay, and that's great. we can all love what we love in a country right now, but when it is communist, you won't be able to have a choice anymore what you love or what you don't. You'll have to love whatever they tell you to love. See, in the country we have now, or at least in a more free democratic country, we're getting at the late stages of that, where it's changing. It won't be too much longer, but when you are in a truly democratic country, you can be communist, right? Like you can believe anything you want kind of thing. But in a communist country, you can't. You got to go with the government. So what one do you prefer? You know what I mean? Do you prefer to be communist in a free country, at least, so you got some choices? Or do you prefer everyone's going to go down that road and no more choice ever again? All the grocery stores are painted gray. All the products are gray. Your car is gray. Because you know what? The government says gray is the color for everybody, all the time. All your clothes are gray. You know, if that's what they want to decide, that's what you got to do. So, local headline again is the Greater Sudbury Police are asking for your help to look for somebody who might have been involved with a 2022 murder. And this is from CBC. And we'll be back right after this.
The Greater Sudbury Police Service is looking for public input into an almost 2-year-old murder in the city. 50-year-old Rowan Williams' body was discovered in his Elm Street apartment May 31st, 2022. Evidence suggests he was murdered in his apartment, and the post-mortem confirmed he had died from gunshot wounds. Williams used several assumed names, including Frank, Dante, Nathan, and Richmond. Police are looking for any information from the public related to this murder and encourage anyone with knowledge of what happened to Williams to call the tip line number or Crime Stoppers.
So again, is it just me, or should they maybe have put that out in 2022? If they weren't able to find the person responsible within like a week maybe, or 2 weeks, if I was, you know, a homicide detective and I wasn't able to find my guy, I would definitely try more close to the time when I was investigating rather than wait 2 years, you know. I don't know, just me. It's just a question I have. No disrespect to the Sudbury Police here. Just questioning, just wondering maybe what some other people might be wondering too. So there you go. Also, sticking with some local news here. The Laurentian President's Home has been sold. That's kind of old news by now, but I know they've been looking to sell that for a while. The also just you know that rainbow colored old hospital that's on Bear Street there, the old General Hospital. The city is looking at doing a public hearing for the hospital site proposal. So panoramic properties, intentions for the old Paris Street Hospital property will be put under the lens on April the 29th during its first public hearing on April 29th. The developer's application is on the April 29th Planning Committee meeting agenda, which notes the project consists of 109 retirement home guest rooms, 421 multiple dwelling units, up to 3 levels of underground shared parking, and 380 square meters of restaurant space. With this, the first of 2 public hearings, city staff made no recommendations for the April 29th hearing, but will do so for the application's second hearing. The application tabled for April 29th meeting echoes the proposal outlined in the media release Panoramic Properties issued last year, which company spokespeople declined to answer questions about. In the wake of last year's initial round of information on the latest proposal for the property, City Council expressed optimism that the company would pull through this time around. Yeah, let's hope they do, because I know a lot of people are hoping that something will be done with the building. I mean, that a couple weeks after the colors were on the building, it kind of looked really cool, but after more windows are smashed, more graffiti is put on the building, It's just more of an eyesore than anything. So let's hope that something is done with that property. And that's that. So deep dive time. If you want to deep dive into the idea of Canada being a socialist country, the idea being the government really increases taxes to no end and then tries to do everything for you, right? So, and you're going to pay for it. It doesn't really encourage outside investment. It doesn't encourage entrepreneurship. Government will just tax the people to no end, and then they will deliver all the programs. And that's socialism, because they're the ones who deliver all the programs. They don't leave it to the free market at all. They know best, so they're going to use your money to deliver things. So Justin Trudeau here just speaking on the latest to tax more people at the higher income level and why he does that. So he's explaining a socialist precept that taxation to the people will bring salvation to the people through big government. So let's listen to Justin Trudeau if you're able to.
The Canadian Medical Association says the proposed changes to the capital gains taxation will affect doctors' retirement savings, and in turn it could affect recruitment and retention of physicians. Are you willing to make changes or exceptions for doctors?
So do we have a health crisis here with not many doctors in the country already? And people are wondering if that's going to prevent more doctors because they're being taxed higher, and maybe they'll want to go practice somewhere else where they can be a doctor and make more money, right? So yeah, that's a legitimate question. So how will that affect you? This policy that this guy with the nice hair is implementing.
Someone making capital gains has to make more than $250,000 in capital gain profits to start to see the new changes of inclusion from 50% of capital gains to 2/3 of capital gains being included in their tax rates. We just don't think it's right that a student or an electrician or a teacher be paying taxes on 100% of their income, while others have the opportunities to use accountants and pay taxes on only 50% of that income.
So he's using the argument like, we tax everyone so high. Why does everyone else have to pay so high taxes? And then people that are smart enough to be able to work the system at least, because, you know, things are like that, right? Like some people make smarter choices than others and they're able to do that. So because we tax the other people so much, we think we need to bear down and just make sure everybody is paying high taxes. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, why don't we lower taxes for everyone else and give everyone else the same breaks that they might be getting, which is an option. He says, no, we need to keep taxing everybody as high as we are. There's no problem with that. And so then we need to tax more people on top of it.
This is about fairness. This is about the fact that in order for people to succeed across this economy at all,
that everyone needs to be equally as poor to make it fair.
All generations, we need young people to succeed. We need young people to be able to buy homes in the coming years. We need young people to be confident of the future.
They could buy homes before you made the policies that you did that made inflation so high as they are and spent all of our money, right? So it was fine. Now what happened though? Why can't young people buy homes anymore? They were able to pre-2015.
That's going to have opportunities for them to build a family and build a future the way they want to. So yes, we are asking the most successful in this country to do a little bit more to make sure that everyone can see themselves in the success of this country. And
everyone could pre-2015, right? So what happened? Why isn't it like that anymore?
That's something that it bewilders me a little bit that the Conservative Party is standing against. It was very clear over the weekend that they are not in favor of asking the wealthiest to pay a little bit more to create success.
And I think I'm kind of making an argument for that right now. You know, why maybe some people aren't in favor of it, but they're the demons now. He's going to demonize this particular group of people that don't believe what he believes.
For young people. I think that's wrong. Because the one thing that matters most to all Canadians, regardless of where you live in, regardless of what your background is, regardless of your approach or your abilities in life, people expect this country to be fair.
But it's not fair now. It was more fair pre-2015. So what are you doing to all of a sudden make it fair? It already was fair. It's actually not fair now that people have to live with these decisions that you're making. So anyways, what is, socialism? Why? Like, why do we go down this road? Why do we have to tax these rich people so much? Why do we have to tax everybody so much? Why are our taxes so high? Like, what's the reason, right? So, it's because we're socialist, and socialism is the way to go. Look at Sweden, right? Let's look at Sweden for a second, okay?
All I hear is that Sweden is this socialist paradise.
Well, we tried with something that was similar to socialism for a brief interlude in Swedish history in the 1970s and the 1980s. And that's the period that even socialists in Sweden now say, we overreached.
What happened?
Well, in the 1970s and 80s, that's the moment when the Swedish government started to expand dramatically. Taxes rose, regulation was all over the place. And
that's exactly what Justin Trudeau is just digging in his heels with right now, Like, you heard his argument there. We need to tax. He's so going off the end of the, going off a cliff, and he's just adamant about it, along with his buddy, right, that he runs the country with. So, yeah. So, again,
that's the moment in time when Sweden began to lag behind the other countries dramatically. There were no new...
Do you see any commonalities here? Are we in the forefront of innovation in the world? Or is Canada known for, like all of the innovations, compared to other countries? Are we leading are we leading or are we following? Well, we may be leading in certain socialist things, but not in the way that's going to allow its citizens to prosper.
Net jobs created in the private sector, no new international companies. Suddenly, all those systems that people depended on, the pension system, healthcare and so on, didn't get the funding they needed. So there were waiting lines to get healthcare. People couldn't get the pension that they thought that they depended on.
Waiting lines in healthcare, does that sound familiar to you?
On for the future. So everybody suddenly realized that something else has to be done.
And even the socialist-leaning politicians agreed?
The socialist minister of finance in Sweden said that our policies have been unsustainable, sometimes absurd, and the tax system is perverse. So even they wanted to dismantle the big government that they had built.
So what happened?
Well, early 1990s, we had a wide agreement from the left to the right that we have to reform the economy, open up new markets, liberalize product markets so businesses could start in new areas, do away with occupational licenses and things like that, lower taxes, reform the pension system so that it wasn't unsustainable, partly privatize the pension system.
But Sweden is still cited as the socialist paradise.
When you look at our policies, we do have a bigger welfare state than the US, higher taxes than the US, but in other areas, when it comes to free markets, when it comes to competition, when it comes to free trade, Sweden is actually more free market.
So there you go. Sweden is actually more free market. And when you say free market, it means capitalist, right? So, yeah, there's Sweden for you. Everyone uses Sweden as the reason why Canada should go more down a socialist road. So I hope everyone was able to hear that. And more from the even more socialist companion of Justin Trudeau, the reason why they have to kind of make even more socialist decisions and tax you even more is because they're co-running the country with the Communist Socialist Party, the NDP, right? So here's a little bit on his right-hand man, Jagmeet Singh.
Was just asked, will you support the budget? Here's what he said.
Go ahead.
Hi there. Will the NDP support the federal budget, yes or no?
We've not made that decision yet, and we've raised a number of concerns. We've said that there's things that we fought for that are in the budget that are good for people. That'll help reduce costs. Things like the protection fund for renters, the school food nutrition program, pharmacare, which is going to lower the cost for families. So those are
Again, all socialist programs which need more taxes. So we need more of this. We need to raise taxes even more, right? To have the kind of country that we want.
things that are very positive that we fought for that will lower costs. But we raised concerns, and with Benita beside me, one of the concerns we both raised is the fact that the disability benefit is only $200 a month, far too low. So we've got to hear from the Prime Minister and the Liberals on what their response is to our concerns before we make a decision.
We need the Prime Minister to be even more socialist. We need more socialism. That's what we're fighting for.
So what is Jagmeet Singh's and the Socialists, NDP, ideal budget? Well, it's spending, 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 and more spending, which means more government control, more government intervention in the market, and more government power over the nation at large. That's Singh's ideal budget. The more spending, the bigger the government. The bigger the government, the more it replicates a socialist, Marxist style of government and achieves that contemptible vision that Jagmeet here wants for Canada. More spending, more spending, more spending. The answer, Jagmeet, is no. Pharmacare, this new daycare program, the food program, and so on, doesn't make life, or do not make life, cheaper. On the contrary, look at the daycare disaster that is occurring across the country right now. There are massive, massive shortages in daycare because government can't allocate daycare effectively. Of course it can't. How is it supposed to? Daycare, like groceries, like other things like dentistry and so on, are dynamic. The demand for them is dynamic. It changes day by day by day. And there are other variables you have to account for if you're going to properly allocate that resource, which is impossible for government to do. So Singh's version of making Canada cheaper doesn't actually make Canada cheaper. On the contrary, it makes it more expensive. Or if it really is cheaper, the quality goes down into the dirt. The quality of that good or service that government is so generously providing us goes down into the depths, which is exactly what we've seen in history before. Jagmeet Singh here is acting tough. Will we support the budget? Will we not support the budget? Who knows? But there isn't enough government spending, says Singh. No matter what, we need more government spending.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the bottom line, right? So he makes good points. So they say it's going to make things cheaper, which it doesn't because you have to pay more. So why is he using this cheaper thing, like more affordable? It's an oxymoron. In order to make things more affordable, you have to make things more expensive. So how does that even make any sense whatsoever? They lie so much. It's just all about lying. It's like socialism cannot go forward without lies. It just seems like it doesn't make it's not common sense. You know what I mean? At all. So, and anyone who does feel that they have an opposing view to what I'm saying, if they're in an earshot of my voice and they're like, their blood boils when they hear what I say and they're totally communist or socialist, which I do see people getting very much into on Facebook and stuff, you're totally welcome to come on the show. And let's just have a dialogue about it. I just have some simple questions for you. I just want to have a coffee chat with you like you would at a coffee shop, sit down and just really ask you, what is it about socialism that's so appealing that makes your life better, right? And really, and it'll give you the opportunity. So this isn't just me here. This is a community radio station. I'm totally a volunteer. I just have questions about my society I live in, my city, try and make it as good as I possibly can. And you're welcome here as well. You can comment here on the show. You can even send me an email at sudburynews@gmail.com. Say, I'd love to come on your show. I'm a communist and I want to debate you publicly or whatever and just have a conversation, like a friendly kind of debate. I'd welcome that. I think we should do that. It's not just my microphone here and I'm hogging it. I have no problem. I'm trying to understand why we do the things we do in our country. A little bit more from Jagmeet Singh.
One of the things that disgust me most about politics, and particular politicians, is that they act like government provides anything. It doesn't. It can't. It doesn't provide anything without first taking away from individuals.
Sure, Linda gets free medication for her diabetes and devices. and we're going to make sure that everyone in our country that needs it gets that medication and those devices. We know that this is actually a story of the upcoming election, that the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre want to take away from families. They want to take away not just Medicare. They want to take away the free dental care we fought for. They want to take away the school food program for kids. They want to take away the things that people need. They want to.
And that's what you're going to hear from Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh all the day long. And it's not that they want to take it away. It's just that they're not socialist. Well, in Canada, they kind of are. It's a socialist system they have to work within, right? But the idea of these everything's free, it costs money. It costs money. And conservatives will just come out and tell you what this particular gentleman here, Tanner, is telling us. That's exactly what happens, right? So unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there because that's all the time we have for the show today. I was hoping to have a little bit more time here, but I guess I was ranting a little bit too much. But that's the way it goes. I can't help myself sometimes. And I really appreciate all the comments from everybody. Make sure if you're listening on the radio and you're wondering what everybody's thinking while we're listening to some of the videos and what they're saying, I get them up on the screen. You can watch the shows on youtube.com/Sudbury News, facebook.com/Sudbury News, twitter.com/Sudbury News, or go to sudbury.news and just click on the Sudbury News Talk tab, and you can watch the show on demand with everybody's comments right after the show. Okay, so thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for commenting. I hope the show was somewhat informative, somewhat entertaining to some degree, and it was a great conversation with y'all. And we'll see you next time, tomorrow, same time, same place. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Have a great one. Stay safe, and ciao.